Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nasdaq Fedosia. Today we'll be going over Biden's infrastructure plan. Before we begin, I want to say that I'm not a financial advisor, and you should always do your own due diligence and research before taking part in any investment scheme. Let's get to it. So let me share my screen with you guys. So from the New York Times, just in about an hour ago, infrastructure and reshape economy. So Biden details $2 trillion plan to rebuild infrastructure and reshape the economy. The president began selling his proposal on Wednesday, which is yesterday at the time of recording, saying it would fix 20,000 miles of roads and 10,000 bridges, while also addressing climate change and racial inequities and raising corporate taxes. So let's begin. So President Biden announced a $2 trillion plan on Wednesday to overhaul and upgrade the nation's infrastructure, calling it a transformational effort that could create the most resilient, innovative economy in the world. So this all sounds like a great dream, but let's read further. So White House officials, said the proposal's combination of spending and tax credits would translate into 20,000 miles of rebuilt roads, repairs to the 10 most economically important bridges in the country, the elimination of lead pipes from the nation's water supplies, and a long list of other projects intended to create millions of jobs in the short run and strengthen American competitiveness in the long run. And we have nothing highlighted here, so we'll go on to the next article. So Joe Biden wants to spend $2 trillion on infrastructure and jobs. We know that. And according to the White House, these infrastructure and jobs various projects are divided into four sections. And this USA Today news has provided us with four charts to show where the money would go. And it's supposedly the centerpiece of Biden's economic agenda. But it will next need to pass Congress first, where Republicans are already lining up against it. According to White House, the plan is divided across four main areas, as I said before. Here's how the money would be spent. So the first section is transportation infrastructure. $621 billion. The plan would make a massive investment in America's roadways, railways, and bridges with a focus on clean energy. It would spend $174 billion, or about 28% of the transportation's portion, on electric vehicles. That includes a network of 500,000 electric vehicle stations using electric vehicles and bus fleets and replacing the federal government's fleet of diesel transit vehicles with electric vehicles. And about 115 billion would pay for fixing roads and bridges chosen by those in most need of repair. That includes 20,000 miles of highways and roads in the most need of repair. The 10 most economically significant bridges in the US, as well as 10,000 smaller bridges. Another $85 billion is set aside for modernizing transit systems and $80 billion for growing backlog of Amtrak repairs, as well as improvements in route expansion. Airports, ports, and waterways would also receive improvements. So this is the entire block for transportation. Electric vehicles, $174 billion, Amtrak, $80 billion, infrastructure resiliency at $50 billion, miscellaneous projects, I don't really know what that means, but $25 billion, modernized bridges, highways, roads, and main streets that are in most critical need of repair, $115 billion. Modernized public transit, doubling federal funding for public transit, $85 billion. upgrade airports, 25 billion, improve road safety, 20 billion, inland waterways, coastal ports, land ports of entry and ferries, 17 billion, connect neighborhoods historically cut off by investments, 20 billion. I'm not really sure what that means. The second part of Biden's master infrastructure plan is quality of life at home. And Biden designates 650 billion to that. The largest part of the plan focused on American homes, school buildings, underground water infrastructure, and broadband expansion. So the plan would spend 213 billion to build, preserve, and retrofit more than 2 million affordable homes and commercial buildings. An additional 111 billion would go toward clean drinking water, including replacement of all lead pipes and service lines. The plan set aside 100 billion for constructing or modernizing public schools, while another 100 billion would be used to build high-speed broadband networks throughout the Wi-Fi. I was thinking Wi-Fi throughout the country. The goal would be for broadband to become universal for all Americans and to drive down the cost for internet. So everyone would apparently get fast Wi-Fi. The plan also calls for 40 billion to improve public housing, 18 million for veterans, 12 billion for community college infrastructure, and 16 million to plug oil and gas wells and reclaim abandoned mines. So this is again the same thing, the same overview. And this is from USA Today, and it's called Biden Infrastructure Plan 4 Charts. So the third and last but not least, one of the final ones is caregivers for elderly and people with disabilities. So Biden wants to pump 400 million to improve access to quality, affordable home or community-based care for the elderly and people with disabilities. It would expand a Medicaid program to make more services available and eliminate a backlog that prevents thousands from getting care. It would also boost pay for care workers who are disproportionately women of color and typically earn about $12 an hour. For too long, caregivers have been unseen, underpaid, and undervalued, Biden said. So 400 billion for that. And the final category in this master plan is research, development, and manufacturing. About 300 billion in the plan would be invested in manufacturing, including support for domestic production of technologies and critical goods. Around 50 billion would go towards semiconductor manufacturing and research. The plan would spend 180 billion on new research and development with an emphasis on clean energy, fewer emissions, and climate change research. That total includes $100 billion for worker training and an increase of worker protection systems. We've fallen back, Biden said of U.S. investment in research and technology. The rest of the world is closing in and closing in fast. We can't allow this to continue. So that's our chart. 52 billion for domestic manufacturers supporting rural manufacturing and clean energy. American workforce development, infrastructure, and worker protection. 48 billion. I said projection because I was thinking of workforce projection, like promoting of jobs and welfare. But anyway, upgrading research infrastructure and laboratories, $40 billion. Technology addressing the climate crisis, 35 billion. 10 regional innovation hub, 20 billion. Programs for R&D, 31 billion. Support clean energy manufacturing, 46 billion. New office to monitor domestic industrial capacity, $50 billion. National Science Foundation for New Technology, 50 billion. Dislocated Workers Program, 40 billion. Support clean energy manufacturing, 46 billion. Preventing future pandemics, 30 billion, and others, 28 billion. So how will all of this be paid for? So Biden wants to raise the corporate tax rate to 28% to pay for the plan. And you guys guessed it, taxes. A percentage that the White House noted is still below what corporations paid before President Donald Trump's tax cuts in 2017. The tax overhaul, dubbed the Made in America Tax Plan, seeks to incentivize job creation and investment in the U.S., end profit shifting to tax havens, and ensure large corporations pay their fair share, according to the White House. The plan would eliminate a rule that allows U.S. companies to pay no taxes on the first 10% of returns when they locate investments in other countries. Under the tax hikes and other reforms, eliminating tax loopholes for intellectual property and denying companies deductions for offshoring jobs, for example, the White House projects the spending will be fully paid in 15 years and reduce deficits in the following years. So that's all today for our recap and summary. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this information helpful, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And make sure to hit that notification bell. See you in the next video.